want to make this comment first. So I may have two questions because I want to hear what you think about this comment as well. But since the 70s, easy, maybe longer than that, for every one black person that you may find that's addicted to some type of drug, heroin, cocaine, weed, whatever, there's always been at least 4 white people. And I think about that when I hear people say that, they dump these drugs in the black community. They were dumping them more in the white community. It wasn't necessarily an issue of white or black. It was an issue who's going to buy it. Have you considered that when you think about when you say they dumped it in the black community?
Well, the correct statement is the government admitted that they targeted the black community and the hippies. So if you want to include the hippies as the suburbanites, somewhat, but they specifically said they targeted the black community. There's documents and files that they've admitted that.
That's in reference to crack cocaine.
No, it wasn't hippies during crack cocaine, Todd. Yes. That's the 80s, the 70s, and the 60s. Particularly the 60s. That's the heroin and where they targeted the black communities.
Todd, if I could give you a drug addict's perspective on it, what I've always noticed that as a former drug user and even watching drug use today is the fact that normally in the white community in the suburbs, they were always privy to special doctors, and they could get prescriptions and all that kind of good stuff, where in the inner city we couldn't get that. And so that kind of made them privy in itself. Surely they were using, but the fact that they could substitute it and brace it with good prescription drugs kept them from falling through the woodwork, whereby in our community either it was what we did or we weren't privy to that. So that played a big part in it. And that's what's happening today. That web that they had to support them from the prescription drugs and the doctors have fell through, and they're right down here where we are scrapping and scraping for hard drugs and whatever. So that's the difference as I see it, Todd.
Okay, I got 2 questions. Here, these are easy questions. Had you considered this? It's never really been the drugs. It's been the mentality of the person before they take the first drug or decide to deal the first drug that's been the problem. I mean, because there's a first time for everything, and before you start, there's a mentality that drives you in that direction to either sell or deal. Had you considered that? And here's the other one. I'll just take it off the air. Again, this goes back to when they talk about dumping drugs in the black community. The crack epidemic gave rise to multiple black drug dealing millionaires. And at that point, if they're drug dealing millionaires and they're black, then they're the ones that's doing it the most.
Hey, Todd, stay on the air because you're so misled. Listen, first of all, crack actually broke more millionaires, black millionaires, than it helped. There were some great black millionaires right in our community before crack came out. Oh, wow. Older guys, business guys and all that, and they started using that crack, and it diminished our millionaires. It didn't help them out.
Had you considered that it wasn't as much the drugs as much as it was the mentality that somebody had before they first took it or before they first sold it?
Todd,
that's a good question.
And I can answer that question with a parable. Todd, you've never used drugs, but you had sex, right?
Yes.
The first time you had sex, you didn't know you was gonna like it, did you? You didn't know you was gonna get hooked on it, did you? You didn't know you was gonna. Not really.
Yeah,
the first time you did not know that you was gonna get hooked on it, did you, Todd?
Well, I ain't hooked on nothing, but
Todd, but you keep going back, right, Todd?
That I was gonna like this.
Okay, all right, Todd. Well,
can I give my short answer for Todd? Real short
answer. Yeah.
I think it goes back to them because you have to be kind of not broken, but through the centuries of oppression and slavery and Jim Crow, racism, MATO, that wears you down. You look for escapism or whatever. So that, back to your point on taking the drugs, you have to factor those that end also.
Well, what about dealing it? Because
same thing.
Using is part of the problem in the community, but the larger part of the problem is the dealing. And there's a whole lot of dealers, and you got to be a first-time dealer to be a second-time dealer.
Todd, the dealer and the user is the same thing. An addiction is addiction.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What in the heck is y'all talking about? You're talking about low-level dealers. Them ain't the darn dealers. Come on now, Todd, you're crazy.
Rick Ross became a millionaire.
Rick Ross, my. Look, you're gonna make me cuss. Those aren't the real dealers, okay? The real dealers are. Listen, the real dealers are the real dealers are the real dealers, man. Don't make me start cussing about how we get the drugs in our community. It ain't no Rick Ross and all that. It's the real dealers. Now don't let me.
Make a 10-second comment. It won't take 10 seconds.
Use your common sense. Use your common sense, man.
My common sense has told me
you telling me that the little old black man got all them boats and planes and ships and bringing this crap over here. Get off my radio station now. Get off my station. Get off my station. And don't come back with that non-common sense.
Like we just volunteered.
Yeah.
Said,
come on.
I want to take drugs.
Who's on the line? Talk to me. I love you. Always call. Yes, hit me.
Okay, I just want to say, when it comes to drug selling and drug usage in the black community, it being scientifically orchestrated for certain groups of people to use drugs by the economic conditions, by the social conditions. So it's not just like people volunteer to use it when people don't have work, decent money, or they're going through social issues because their family broke down. It automatically, some people are going to turn to drugs or alcohol to relieve the pain, and that's being planned out for people to take that route. It's not totally just like comes down to people making choices. It's predicted that people are gonna make certain choices, and that's being prepared, by the social structure, just to keep us just organized.
Hey, Demetrius, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna set this up in the near future. I'm gonna set it up where you can come into the studio, and Todd can come into the studio, and we're gonna debate. You're going to debate against Todd because I believe you can. I believe you can beat him. I believe you can beat him. Todd against Demetrius. I'm betting on you, Demetrius, just like I'm betting on the Cavs tonight. All right, Demetrius, will you be up for the challenge, Demetrius?
Oh, yes, I'll be up for the challenge. We just had different point of views, but it'll be interesting.
But you'll be up for the challenge, Demetrius.
Yes, I would.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. You're the LeBron James of radio compared to Todd. Who's on the phone line? Talk to me. Come on.